everyone, this is the first video in my clay and culture series. I'll be explaining how different cultures approach clay work with different techniques and cultural significance. However, for this video, I'll just walk through how to use stoneware clay, which is a really popular and versatile clay that's commonly used in pottery. So first, I'll explain what stoneware clay is. It's a firing clay meant to be put in a kiln at like 22,000 degrees Fahrenheit. And it's extremely durable, thick, and really gritty. But that makes it a really good material for both functional and decorative pottery. It is a bit rougher than other clays, but it is still extremely workable and has great strength. So on the screen, I'm putting up an example of a greenware piece. So this is what a finished product should look like. It's still really malleable in that state. And once fired, it does become a lot stronger, waterproof, and darker in color. And this is an example of a fired piece. You can see that the color is a lot darker. It's really hard. So this is what the most optimal piece would look like after firing. But for now, we're just going to focus on the hand building it without firing. So just on greenware pieces. So when working with clay, you typically want sculpting tools as well. Anything sharp, anything that you can use to cut, shape, and smooth out pieces. So, and you can be resourceful. You can use forks, you can use knives, stuff like these. Anything with a pointed tip is great for carving out pieces. You can also use a roller to flatten out any pieces and then shape them from there. So, but before we can even begin working with clay, you have to wedge it. That is an important thing to remember. When you're working with clay, you wedge it every time before you start shaping. It's a process similar to kneading dough, but it's vital for removing air bubbles and making the texture consistent. So right now we have this piece. You can see it's kind of all over the place. But first, you want to grab it, squish it, play around with it for a bit. And usually what I like to do when wedging is I like to put it on whatever surface you're working on, then press down. Press down, make it flat, and then fold it on itself, then press down again. Now stoneware, you typically want to do this for 2 to 3 minutes. And while you do this, you'll hear popping sounds, which means you're doing it right. It means you're removing the air bubbles, and that'll just make your piece look better overall. It'll make the texture look so much better. So just keep folding it over itself and pushing down. See, it just started to pop right there. Alright, so yeah, typically when you work with stoneware, you want to repeat that process, maybe a bit longer. Just make sure you keep pushing down, applying pressure, folding it over itself. And also, if you're firing, it's vital to do this, because if you fire with air bubbles, then your piece is not going to come out the way you expect it to. So once your clay is wedged, you're ready to begin shaping. And I think a good example right now is just an easy pinch pot to show you how stoneware behaves. So first, you want to begin with a small ball of clay. can see it's really easy to work with. Super malleable, super friendly. You want to make it. And also another important thing to remember when working with stoneware clay is to always keep it hydrated. If you don't hydrate it, it's going to begin cracking. And once it begins cracking, your piece is done. Like, or I guess it's not done yet, but just remember to keep hydrating it. Right now I'm working with a really well hydrated piece, so I don't have to worry about that for now. But with older clay, you might want to make sure to keep hydrating it to maintain it. Alright, so now we have our ball. And for this, you want to just use your thumb and start almost drilling it and pinching it to the side. And just keep repeating this. You just want to hollow out the center. Just carve it. And once you're finished, your piece should look like a little pot. My thumb's just gliding super nicely. Like I said before, this clay is really nice to work with. It's super soft, super friendly. Nothing too difficult. Super beginner friendly. Now, alright. So this is what a small pinch pot looks like. And you can even out the sides. And another thing I'd like to mention is the score and slip method, which is typically used for binding two pieces of clay together. And you usually need this for drier pieces of clay. If it's super well hydrated like this, then they'll stick together super easily. Like, I can rip a piece off, stick it back on, and usually it'll just go on super easily. But with drier pieces of clay, you want to use slip, which is a mix of this clay and water, and you can put it in a cup and you can use a brush to apply it on wherever areas you need. And just some final reminders is to always wedge your clay before working. Keep any unused clay covered so it doesn't dry out, because once it dries out, you won't be able to work on that project anymore. And always have water in a spray bottle while you work to hydrate your clay and avoid cracking. Because a lot of people, they think there's something wrong with the clay, but usually it's just because it isn't well hydrated enough. So stoneware is extremely forgiving but super rewarding to work with. And so some final tips is just experiment, get your hands messy, and most of all, just have fun.